Thank you so much for joining us today for the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Here on the Pastor's Potluck, it's similar to a normal potluck where you might get something that you want and there may be something that you just want to pass up altogether. And that's okay. There's something here for everybody. Our goal here is to encourage you and maybe in the process entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Joined here by Anna Blake, our youth pastor here at Southridge.
What is up?
Yep. What a crazy day so far.
You can say that again. It's a crazy day here. It's been so good.
It's rainy. You've been stuck in traffic. You've been
And then
say the prayer joke. You said the first
prayer
time.
joke. No joke, you guys. Listen. We prayed before this podcast, and I was stuttering through a prayer, and I'm like, man, I'm rusty. I've only done this twice today. Bodker's like, well, how often do you normally pray by now? I was like, it depends on the day. Clearly today, I've made a huge mistake. I should have talked to God the whole way here. Like, we should have been chatting it up, but that's all right. We're still here, and this is good. This is good.
And in hindsight, like, everybody's healthy.
Yes.
Everybody's laughing. We're all having a good time. And it's not, like, nothing else is, it's okay. Like, it's okay.
Yes. Everything is okay. I like that. It's okay.
Everything is okay. We may be a little congested here and there, but, like, all in all, like, we're all doing pretty good.
Yes.
So, youth pastor, yes. Check. Southridge Church.
Check.
Kids. Check. Like youth age.
We got them.
Games.
Double check. Games are my game.
Games are your game.
Well, I'm not the best game person that I know.
Yeah.
But I do love playing games.
Yes. Like, so playing game, like trying to, like, icebreaker situations for, like, the youth. Kind of like getting them excited.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, like that's the fun part. That's the great part.
Yeah.
I think that's what helps. I think that's one of the many things that y'all do that helps, like, see teens coming back and just having fun and just cutting up and laughing and, you know, challenging each other, which is great. Icebreakers.
Yeah. Icebreakers are a big deal. So icebreakers are like what I would consider like mini games.
Yeah.
Like it's like the games that say like stand up if, or like I'm trying to think, another icebreaker type of game would be like a this or that.
Yeah.
Go to this side of the room if you like the color blue more than the color red. Go to that side of the room if you like red more than blue. Cats versus dogs, like whatever, like that kind of stuff is icebreaker. Icebreaker can sometimes be like questions, like would you rather kind of questions, and having them choose and kind of like look around the room. I do a lot of like thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Like, hey, just stay where you are, but give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And just that little bit of interaction can break the ice a lot of times.
Yeah. Relays.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I just had an idea for one.
Oh, boy.
You know those little, like, have you ever seen people that create videos and they're like the little tiny hands? I think you have some.
I do have tiny hands, and I've used them many times.
Yeah. What you should do is have the kids try to make a sandwich with tiny hands.
I love that.
Like, as in a relay. Like, somebody go put the piece of bread, you know, take the bread and put it on the plate, and then somebody take the bologna and then
Sounds
the
awesome.
cheese or something like that. And then you have to build a sandwich.
I'm trying to remember what we did with the tiny hands. Actually, I still have it. Oh, my gosh. We did a drawing competition, like a Pictionary kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they had to use the tiny hands to paint. And so I had these little canvases, and maybe like 8 by 10 canvases, and they put the tiny hands on the end of a drumstick, and they had to use the tiny hand, dip it in paint, and like make their little picture. Like, it was so great because there's just this teeny tiny hand like going all over the canvas.
Yeah.
It's so goofy.
That's fun. What are some of the other, like, fun ones for you that stand out? Like, whenever you look back on it, you go, man, that was really fun. Like, I want to do that again.
Oh, man. Like, some of the ones that we hit up regular are like fun to me and I think are good crowd engagement. Things like I mentioned, like this or that or whatever, but things like charades or reverse charades. Reverse charades is something that we do where this on the screen is the topic. Like let's
Yeah.
say it's skateboarder is on the screen, and the one person is in front of the screen facing the audience.
Okay.
And so the audience can see the word skateboarder. They have to act it out so that the one person can guess what is on the screen.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of game because it gets everybody up, it gets everybody involved, and it's not so much just one person and people are just like on their phones doing nothing, like not paying attention if they don't want to, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the games that I really love, I love whenever it's summer, we can get outside. We can do like cornhole, volleyball, stuff like that is always really fun. But then,
Kickball. Y'all done like a
yeah,
kickball with
we
like slip
do.
and slides or
Yeah, we
something
do
like that.
the kiddie pool kickball.
Yeah.
We love that. That's a lot of fun. That is one of those moments where you're like, I know the parent signed the consent release, but I don't want to go to the emergency room today.
Yeah.
Like, if I can help it, I don't want to see a concussion. Please, Lord. That's when the praying comes back in. Remember
Yes.
that?
Yes.
You're just like, okay, God, I'm praying again. Like, please, please, please.
Yeah. I think my
Uh,
son is like the hyperactive, like the one that you always got to keep your eye on, because I heard horror stories whenever y'all came back from taking a whole bunch of the kids to snowboard and ski and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And Erica was like, yeah, Nolan dragged me up to like this triple diamond black, like into the abyss mountain.
Pretty much.
And and she's trying to go back like on like the ski lift, and they're like,
Yeah.
it doesn't, you can't go, you have to go down on your snowboard. So I think she's just like scooting along on her rear end, getting down the mountain.
Yeah, I do remember that day because and events like that really they help with stuff too. But when we went, we were like, "Who's the little kid that we need to look out for?" Like Nolan's like the sixth grader. He's just little. We're just like, "Oh, we need to look out for little Bodker. Like he's just
Yeah.
our little guy." Like the dude is not playing. Like he is going to the tallest mountains,
Yeah.
just coming down. Like he's been doing this his whole life. We're like,
Yep.
"Aren't you from Texas?" He's like, I don't know."
Yeah.
It was
I remember that
amazing.
place. Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, he's the type to where it's like, if you're doing it, he wants to do it to the max.
Yeah, he
to
wants to
level
push
10.
it. Yeah, yeah.
He wants to do it because I mean, like for like weeks leading up to this snowboard event that y'all had where y'all just
Mhm.
went and snowboarded, he's watching videos. He's like,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go on the ramps, I'm gonna go on the rails, I'm gonna backflip, I'm gonna do all that stuff, and I'm like, bruh, like you just need to tone it down
That's
just
so
a
good.
little bit.
Well,
But
you just said that it made me think of we do games like in the van sometimes too.
yeah,
Like when we're traveling, like we'll think of different games. Like sometimes we'll do like a sing song game where we just have to go through like every row. Someone has to like do a little thing or whatever.
yeah,
Not everybody loves that, but even stuff like that can be super fun. Like just
yeah,
finding ways to like have uh have a time together to laugh.
yeah,
Like spend some time like laughing with each other, like just getting loose, like and just having a good time.
yeah. One of my favorite events whenever I was in church growing up was we did a all you can eat event. So the youth pastor went and bought like 1,000 like of the McDonald's
Yeah.
cheeseburgers, and uh, it was like a big event to try to get our friends to come to church and whatever. And so he split it up between 4 teams, and so each team had 250 hamburgers, and I think that each team had about 20 kids on it, and which is
It's
a
a
lot of
lot of
kids.
hamburgers.
But it's
It's
a
a
lot.
lot of kids, but it's a lot of hamburgers still.
It's a lot of hamburgers per person, because if you do the math, that's like 10 hamburgers a kid.
Yeah.
And so it turned out to be fun because your buddies from school get to come and they get
Yeah.
to hey, all you can eat hamburgers, like just I want you to be a part of this, which is great. But like some of them got sick because
I
I mean
bet.
10 hamburgers for a kid,
Yeah.
14, 15 years old. 10 hamburgers for anybody is a lot of
Yeah,
food.
I'm thinking like I've been hungry, but I don't know that I've been 10 hamburgers hungry in quite a while.
Yeah. Could
Gosh.
you imagine rolling up to the drive-through? What can I
Yeah.
get for you? 10 burgers, please.
just for me.
I feel like I would be so disappointed in
Yeah,
myself
yeah, right. Yeah. You
if
don't
I ever
go
got to that
you don't
point.
go home that day. You just like go to like a parking lot by the river and eat them by yourself. And then you just like throw the trash away in some public trash bin
Yeah,
and then go home.
yeah,
That's what you do in
then the
that
credits
situation.
start rolling
That's
on the
right.
screen.
So yeah, this is how this day went.
Yeah, but
It's so
it was
good.
a fun one just because you walk in there thinking you're all big but after about 2 or 3, I mean you're starting to fill up and you're like, well, I'm gonna eat my own 10. I got this, but you know I mean they're not that big, but 3 or 4 for a kid,
Yeah.
3 or 4 for anybody is just ridiculous.
Yeah. It makes me think of just like that general I feel like there was a lot of eating challenges in youth ministry growing up. Like eating and drinking challenges. Like I know that Scott tells a horror story of like a soda chugging challenge that he did when he was a youth pastor. Like
Yeah,
and like you had mentioned earlier before we had recorded this, like when he talked about the chugging soda through a sock
yeah,
game. Like I had seen that game in a movie once and I had heard that people played games like that, but I remember like I don't have a background in ministry as like a study, and so whenever I had the opportunity to be a youth pastor, I was like, do I have to play games like where kids take off their socks and put it over soda cans and drink it? Because I don't
yeah.
want this. Like
No,
I don't want to do that.
I don't. I'm
That
not.
sounds terrible.
Yeah, there's some things I don't mind doing,
Uh,
but this is one of them that I
Yeah, like
refuse.
I'm not, so even like I'm from education. Like even
Yeah,
when I was a teacher, I struggled with boogers, blood, and vomit. Like I was
yeah.
like, nope, that stuff isn't me. Well, then of course poo. Like, but poo was not usually the issue. It was the
That's not
others.
in the big 3.
Yeah, like the regular 3 was and
Yeah,
I was like, this is not. And so I'm like, I don't want to play games where I'm going to see these things either.
yeah,
Like if I can prevent that stuff, that would be awesome. No, I didn't prevent it once.
yeah. The eating ones. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's like I think where the horror stories come from.
Yeah.
Like I saw this one where they took candy bars and melted them and then put them on the inside of diapers, so kids had to eat them
No.
to try to guess what kind of candy bar it was.
Nope, don't like that.
Nope, I don't like that either.
It's super
I
icky.
I wanted to throw up. I
Yourself.
literally wanted to throw up.
Yeah, it's
My
super
stomach
gross.
hurts thinking about it right now.
Yeah, it's super gross. Like the thought of like the smell of the diaper
Yeah.
while you're eating something out of it, like
Oh
just
yeah.
that smell, because I associate that smell, that like powdery,
Baby
papery
powder.
smell
Yeah.
with poo. Like
Yeah.
that's what I associate that smell with. And so to have my face in there doing something, like no, nope, no, no, thank you.
What
That's gonna
happens
be a
if you give a
pass.
hug to a baby that just smells like baby powder and you're like, nope,
Mm,
this kid's probably got poop
No,
on
that's
him.
okay. I'm just trying not to like eat what's contained in that thing.
Yeah, true.
Like that's where it's at.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to eat any of that.
Yeah. So you've done some eating challenges. You got like any kind of horror stories from
um,
You've got one that's like kind of like a mix between like excitement but didn't turn out too well for you at the end.
yeah.
It was your eating.
Yeah, that's true too. We had a game that we played. There's a student he played when he was in middle school, and in high school now. I think he's a senior,
Yeah.
and he ate during one of our eating games, and it was called Baby Food Roulette.
Yeah.
Some of the volunteers might remember this too, because it was memorable. We did this game where the baby food, either the labels were taken off or they were under cups. I don't really remember all the details.
Yeah.
But they essentially played like a roulette. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you just pick at random and you have to eat what you get, like whatever. And somehow some of these foods got mixed together, like a bite of each or whatever. And the kid just like started doing the little gaggy,
Yeah.
and we were like, "Oh, is this happening?" And he runs for the wastebasket and like lets some of what's in his mouth out, and then runs to the restroom to relieve the rest. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, this is not. I should turn in my resignation. Like I did not want this. I don't think this is how the gospel goes." Like, uh-oh. I've
Yeah.
made a mistake.
Yeah. That's yeah.
we have not played that since because I felt very bad about that. I was like,
I
oh,
think
I
you should do it,
failed.
but just do it with, like, safe ones.
Well, I think it was the mixing of the flavors is
Yeah.
what really, and maybe this kiddo didn't have the best stomach. Like they were kind of a weak stomach person anyway. So you don't really want to play those kinds of games like that. A few years ago, we used to host this spring event called Pineapple Mayhem, and we had a relay. And one of the relay points was
I like
to
where this is going with
yeah,
the name of it.
yeah, Pineapple Mayhem was actually awesome. I love that event. Oh, we had two. I just remember we had a second eating challenge at that night at Pineapple Mayhem. We had a um, DIY Sunday with a partner, and your partner laid on the ground with a trash bag like over them, but their face is exposed,
Yeah.
and you had to DIY a sundae in their mouth from standing. So like you had to scoop ice cream and dump it like from the standing position. So like 4 feet, this ice cream is plopping on their face.
That's
And then
great.
you had to add sprinkles and syrup and like all. It was a hot mess. But anyway,
Yeah.
that actually went really good, and the kids loved that.
Oh, yeah, for
Except
sure.
for the strawberry syrup left like red dye on one kid's face.
Oh, no.
It was, so I guess it didn't go perfect.
That
but
sounds like my kind of game because I love ice cream so much.
it was so great. But during one of the relays, they had to eat pineapple out of a can, or it might have been fresh. This was years ago, and they're like eating it, and one of the kids is like, "My tongue hurts," like because pineapple's like real acidic. And I'm like, "Just go get some water." I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm so sorry.
Tastes like burning,
Like,
Anna.
My tongue really hurts. Oh gosh. Just eat a Starburst. You'll feel better. I don't
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
Like,
Get some milk.
golly.
Now, and y'all did a pretty fun one, but it was a little bit more elaborate. Like whenever y'all did your Happy All the Days event
Oh yeah.
for New Year's. Talk about that one.
We had handfuls of games that night, including relays.
Yeah.
But the one game that really stood out to me that I thought was awesome, Samara planned that whole event. She's our youth intern, for anyone who doesn't know, and she had another student lead that event. But it was she'd have to correct me because I don't remember the name, but I just called it Oreo Tower, and they did a bracket. So they had everyone get on teams of 3, set up the bracket, and they had team versus team until the championship or whatever.
Yeah.
And so what it was is player 1, imagine almost like a basketball court, like you've got your hoops, then you've got your foul lines. So player 1 is kind of like in the hoop range, setting up Oreos in a tower. And
Yeah.
then player number 2 is on the opposite side at like a foul line type situation, using a squirt gun to try to shoot down the other team's tower that they're setting up,
Yeah.
while player number 3 puts a stocking over their head like pantyhose
Yeah.
and puts a tennis ball at the end.
Yeah.
They're like a human wrecking ball.
Yeah.
And so their role is to just swing their head and try to knock over this tower.
Yeah.
They've got like 60 seconds or whatever, and whoever's tower is the tallest at the end wins. And it was awesome. Pastor Cheryl was there. Cheryl was like, "What is going on? Like,
Yeah.
what is happening in this room right now?" Because it was just like people screaming, like chaos, like cheering for the team they wanted to win.
Yeah.
There's like goopy Oreos everywhere. There's like kids with their faces smushed up, like
With pantyhose.
their faces like all smashed in these stockings. It is just incredible. We're laughing so hard, like it was just mass chaos. And I tried to forget this moment actually, but following that game when we were cleaning up, I saw a box of Oreos on the ground, and I thought, delicious. So I
Now it's time for a little refuel.
literally my thoughts. So I opened this box and like pulled the film back, and I put an Oreo in my mouth, and it might have been a little bit wet, but I don't think so. Like my memory doesn't remember it being wet, but it could have been, I guess. And this 8th grade boy turns quickly and says, "We put all of those in our mouth and then put them back in there." And I like, it was like my mouth just opened like a gate, and the food just fell right out. Like the
Yeah.
Oreos just fell right out of my mouth, and I was like, "Why would you do that?" And I went over like spat in the
Yeah.
trash can. I was like, "You people, like, what is going on?"
Oh yeah, you need to chalk that up for signs you know you are a youth pastor. First off, you're okay with with eating wet food
There's a lot
and
of
you
wet
don't know
food.
it.
Yeah.
And then secondly, your kids are just doing crazy things like that.
Yeah. Oh.
I think aside from like just the excitement and the fun that it's had, but also like the horror stories, it's all like one and the same. Like you just got to take the good and the bad and
Oh
just
yeah.
laugh at all of those things and look at how much fun you've had. Like the icebreakers and these games serve like a different purpose.
Right.
So like we encourage like the youth to be able to invite their friends,
Mhm.
and let's be honest, like the invitation of, hey, why don't you come, we have like really awesome we have awesome music before we go in,
Yeah.
or we're gonna sit down and they're gonna teach,
Yeah.
and like that's not a very compelling argument to help get your friends here.
Yeah. Not always. No.
So talk a little bit about like the why behind these games.
Sure.
Like like why are we doing silly and fun things, and maybe
Yeah.
sometimes disgusting things?
Yeah, sometimes like I have had not recently and not often, but I have had people who are kind of like off put about playing games. Like, hey, we need to use our time wisely. Like we only have this much time with students a week. That ends up being this much time a month, this much time a year. Like, what are we doing with that time? Are you wasting it playing games? And I've I've had to wrestle with that personally myself.
Yeah.
But before I kind of dive into this, I'd like to ask you this question and kind of hear your thoughts on whenever you were like growing up or even in recent years, like when you have played games with people, like think like board game style or even watched game shows on TV, like
Yeah.
who do you remember who you're with, and do you remember those moments? Like what did those moments what kind of impact did they have on you? Even, you might not realize all the ins and outs of it, but were they positive? Were they negative? Like what did that look like for you?
Yeah, I think it's different because I think anybody that's watching something on television, they're like, man, I want to go play Plinko. Like
Yeah.
everybody wants to go put the little Plinko chip and watch it clink and clatter all the
Oh
way
yeah.
down and hopefully win money. But doing things in like a group setting for me was always, I've always been an extrovert, but I have social anxiety because
Mhm.
I'm just, I know I'm weird. I know I'm a little quirky. I'm out there, and I'm okay with that because it's the
Yeah.
way that God has made me, and I do things like drastically different than most people. Um, and that's okay
Yeah.
because once again, I've learned to function in the way that God has created me. But for some people, it could be off-putting because I'm out there. Like I
Yeah.
say random things at times. I like to laugh. I like to cut up. I like to enjoy life
Yeah.
um, to the absolute max. Like anytime, I just want to be having fun. But I often worry about how people look at me and perceive me,
Yeah.
um, because I don't want like ministry effectiveness to be um, like watered down because of someone's perception of me. And
Yeah.
so I don't tend to put myself in those in games or anything like that because I'm competitive
Yeah.
and I'm gonna I'm gonna act like a crazy man.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that whenever I allow myself to enjoy and just be in those times and those moments, playing games, first off, I feel like a big, huge weight is taken off of me. Like
Yeah.
I'm not so anxious about what's in front of me. And then it also serves as a way for people to kind of get to know me and how I function and how I
Yeah.
like what makes me tick and um, why I'm a 39-year-old man that is just crazy and wild.
Yeah.
Like I'm I'm the wild guy.
Yeah. You
So
okay, wild guy. Listen, what I heard in all of that is um moments where you've got to play games with people have allowed you to kind of let your guard down and be vulnerable and
yeah,
be yourself.
yeah,
That is the literal goal of playing games. Like
yeah,
the goal behind playing games in ministry, what we do with teens, is to give them a place where they're not thinking about what their hair looks like. They're not thinking about what they're wearing. They're not thinking about who's in the room with them. They're not thinking about who's not there.
yeah,
They're simply focused on something right now in this moment, for a tiny little goal, Like maybe the tiny goal is bragging rights. Maybe it is a prize. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just to have fun. Like, and for that little tiny moment, we are giving them an opportunity to open the door to what we are getting ready to give them. And
Yeah.
they can decide whether or not they want to leave that door open and receive it. But playing a game allows us to put our guard down, to be vulnerable, and to
For sure.
receive.
Yeah, because the expectation if a first time person comes here, especially a teenager, um, is going to be so drastically. They're thinking about the whole experience.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're in here for worship, and then y'all go back to the youth space. But I mean, the way to get there is through currently our
Oh, yeah.
big construction
Yeah,
zone.
especially now. It's crazy.
And so, and then they're going outside into another room. Um, and that's not that's not obviously like the long-term solution. It's just what the season that we're in.
Yeah.
um but they're thinking about like everything. Maybe
Yeah.
they're thinking about like, oh man, I'm already hungry, like I'm thinking about
Right.
lunch. And it just allows them just to focus on the now and the present,
Yeah.
just for those 5-10 minutes, like during that game.
Yeah.
Is doing it.
Yeah, and it's not something that we say out loud. We're not like we're playing this game so that you can have a better understanding of what we're going to talk about in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Like it's for even this past week we played a game where we're in a series called Not Yet. And we're talking about the future and how we can take our next steps towards God, and it's a continuation of a faith journey. Like it's always going. You're not there yet,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Like, so we're talking about that. And so the opening game activity we did is we had students compete with a toaster. We put toast in the toaster, and if they could pop up at the same time as the toaster, they win. Like,
Yeah.
it's really simple, but it's this concept of like, not yet, don't hop up yet, don't hop up yet.
Yeah.
And then we lead into a conversation about, hey, your next step is to get closer to God.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening next. You're not as close to God yet as you will be, but that doesn't mean you're not taking steps towards that.
Yeah.
And so that conversation comes after a little bit of the guard being let down, a little bit of fun, a little bit of prizes, whatever that looks like. And it is so fun to see kids interact in that way too, like to jump up and cheer for each other,
Yeah.
or to, goodness, even with an icebreaker, a thumb up, a thumb down, to watch a video clip of a game show or something, and
Yeah.
say like, hey, act like you're a part of this. Like, what would you do? Like, just anything like that to get the fun amplified and get them a little bit vulnerable to what we're going to kind of dive deeper into.
Yeah.
And it's really just it is a doorway. It's a gate towards,
Yeah.
hey, here's where we're headed. You're invited. But
Talk a little
let's
bit
get you
about
ready.
like some of maybe there was like a kid that started coming, and they were just maybe super shy, and you've seen not only because of the games but the connection that you make spiritually
Yeah.
with these games. Because I think whenever the like youth groups first started doing this, it was just about like what kind of random craziness
Yeah.
can we get into.
To get kids through the door.
Yeah.
Let's get kids in the building. Let's get them. Yeah.
But
Yep.
now this shift is happening where you're connecting the two.
Yes.
To where there's something or an aspect about this game that you're connecting to the presentation of the gospel. So I want to, you don't have to share names or anything
Yeah.
like that, but share an example about like how you've seen kind of like this, like something click in this young girl or this young boy,
Yeah.
and how they've like opened up and you've seen them grow in their relationship with Jesus.
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked this because I hadn't really thought about this, but as soon as you said it, I felt like I almost saw a kid directly in my mind that I knew that this is a correlation between their faith journey
Yeah.
and what we've been doing through fun. There's a student who started coming here as maybe a sixth grader, I think, like pretty young, and they just came back to youth and they were really quiet, really like kind of to themselves, didn't really know anybody.
Yeah.
And then when we went to play games, like we're like, hey, we need a volunteer to play this game, and they like put their hand up, and I'm like, okay, well, come on, come play this game. So they're
Yeah.
playing, and then the next time we're like, hey, we need someone to play this game. They're like, okay, I'll play. They play the game. And then we make an announcement, hey, we're doing a weekend retreat in a couple months. Like, you guys should come to this. That kid's like, I think I'd like to go. They've never been to anything outside
Yeah.
of Sundays. They go to this weekend retreat. They actually end up bringing a family member as a chaperone. And over summer, they went to camps with us. They went to other stuff. Anytime we had an activity, specifically games, they wanted to be in it.
Yeah.
And then we saw them just well, I guess it was almost a year later. We saw them commit their life to Christ and get baptized right here.
Yeah.
Like
It's awesome.
I mean, it was a 2-year trek, but it was a 2 years worth having fun and seeing that happen.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're still part of what we're doing. They're always excited about. Now, if you see them, they don't seem like an excited kid. Like, they're kind of like laid back, kind of chill. They're in maybe 8th grade now, and they're just kind of like, you're like, that kid, that's the one.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait till we play the game. They
Yeah.
come alive. And it's true. And so, like, man, if we can reach kids through having some fun and doing games and then connecting that with the gospel,
Yeah.
that's huge. And I could do that every day.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like just seeing the progression of the gospel taking a hold of someone
Yeah.
and seeing Jesus just kind of stirring in their heart. You know, they've got these questions maybe about like what you've talked about, like, hey, I didn't quite understand that. Can you maybe
Yeah.
give me a better explanation on this or that? And I've seen it to where you're having meaningful conversations with kids, and I'm not saying it's because of the games,
Right.
but it's because of like everything that's been implemented because of this. And we all know that like with kids, there's no tried and true way of
Yeah.
like what you do for one group of high school students will not.
No.
You can't repeat it
No, you
for
can't.
in 2 years whenever you get a new batch of high school
Yeah,
students.
it's going to look different through the years, and it has. The games that we've played looks different through the years. Like, we did a game night last year.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have had a game night 3 years ago. Like, I don't think anyone would have showed up to play.
Yeah.
And it was just board games. We played like Throw Burrito, Uno, like just stuff like card games and board games.
Yeah.
But now, like, the culture's changed a little bit, and we have kids that are interested in that. And then, in 3 years, that might shift again, and we have to look for something. We need outdoor games again. They're not
Yeah.
willing. They don't want to come in and sit down and do stuff. They want to be out there playing kickball. That's okay. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to do that because we talk about this here all the time. Like, it's not about me as the youth pastor. Like, it is about the ministry. It's about we. Like, what is working, that's where I'm going to go. Like, there are some things that we're doing in our ministry right now, especially in the past year, that I don't necessarily love, but it's working, so we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what it's about. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, there's some of these games I don't love the cleanup, I don't love the setup, but they work.
Yeah.
So we're doing them.
Yeah, it's incredible. I love it. I love being it because I'm seeing it happen with my own son Nolan, who's in youth group, and he gets excited and he's talking about. And the good thing is that he's remembering.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's so hard. Like whenever you get your kids in the car and you're on your way home. Hey, what did y'all talk about? What did y'all do? What is this? Things that happen.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. You want
Right.
you want your kids to be able to be reminded of the things that they're doing, that they're talking about, and things to look forward to as
Yeah.
well, which is crazy because my son's like hyper, like he's got ADD, HDDD, ADDD, HDD.
Oh gosh, I like him so much though.
But we want him to be able to tell us like,
Yeah.
hey, like these things instead of just like walking him through it because he's a teenager first off.
Right.
But he just doesn't do well in like the memory department. But
Yeah.
if you're doing something that's memorable,
Yeah. Making
Then-
those connections.
yeah,
Yep, for sure. And they do make that connect. Like, I think about myself, like some of my fondest memories growing up was playing games with our friends at home, or playing games with our family after Thanksgiving dinner, like clearing the table and playing a card game, or playing Mad Gab or Sorry or Yahtzee, like getting around the table and doing stuff like that, watching The Price is Right and competing against each other. Like, we just won the vacation.
yeah,
My showcase was closer than yours.
Yeah.
Like, just those kinds of moments, they create a bonding connection. And that's what we want to do. We want to create some kind of fun, amplified moment that we can bond with the gospel and
Yeah.
help hopefully transform your life. Like,
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Yeah, because some kid may not look at a McDonald's hamburger the same after a food eating contest.
Definitely not.
If there's some kind of connection
But
there,
yes.
like every time he or she eats a McDonald's hamburger, they're gonna be like, "Man,
Yeah.
do you remember that food, that
Yeah.
like, competition?" Or I guarantee you, the next time you eat a wet Oreo, you're gonna have some thoughts.
Bro, I've struggled with eating Oreos since. Like,
That's so good.
it's like, oh, has this Oreo been in the mouth of other people before I ate it? Like, gosh,
Oh, that's so
they've
gross.
destroyed me.
I think you know what? There was a game called Double Dare.
Oh yeah,
You should go back and watch some of those episodes.
actually, that might be a part of my casserole.
What? Oh yeah, that's right. You have casserole today. Is it really part of your casserole? Oh
Oh, why you
goodness.
gotta read my brain like that? That was crazy. Okay, is it okay for
Yeah.
casserole?
Is
Okay,
it okay
ladies
for
and
you?
gentlemen. Yes, I'm fine by that. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anna Blake, and this is a segment on the Pastor's Potluck podcast where we present you with Nana's Casserole, brought to you by me, Nana.
It's been so long since you've been on. I totally forgot about.
I know. It's okay, though. I was ready. So today's Nana's Casserole is the top 10, voted by Entertainment Weekly, the top 10 game shows in television history.
Okay.
Okay, top 10 game shows in television history. This is not a quiz. This is not whatever. I'm just going to mention the list. If you're listening or watching and one of these is your favorite,
Is
tell
this in
us.
order?
This is in order 10 to 1.
10-1.
10
so
to 1.
being the 10 most popular.
10 most popular by Entertainment Weekly voting.
Can I guess on some of them?
Sure.
I think I already know the number one. So whenever you get to the number one, let me guess it.
Oh, I was kind of surprised by this list.
Can I give you 5? Let me give you 5 and see if it
okay.
makes the list.
List 5 of them right now. We'll
Okay.
see if they're on the list.
Price is Right.
Okay.
Hollywood Squares.
Okay.
Jeopardy.
Okay.
Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
And Double Dare.
Okay. All right. In the number 10 spot, Hollywood Squares. Wow, I can't believe you. It ran from 66 to 89 and then again from 1998 to 2004. And I do remember Hollywood Squares and I loved it.
Yeah.
I remember what's the Gilbert Godfrey? Like
Oh, he was the
I remember
best.
being like, "Yo, that's the parrot." 'Cause I didn't really know Gilbert from like anything else except for Aladdin, and I'm like, "Yo, the Aladdin parrot is up in this piece talking."
He
Like,
did the voice for the Aflac duck.
oh, did he too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I love that. Okay, in number 9, The Gong Show, which was a production similar to America's Got Talent. It ran from 76 to 80 and then again 88 to 89, and then it had a final leg in 2017, and it was about one season to 2018.
Yeah.
So, kind of like a talent show type of show. In number 8, Family Feud.
Oh, that's a good one.
Family Feud. We all know that Family Feud is currently still airing, but it
Dude,
had
Steve Harvey's the best.
just the best.
He's the best.
Just awesome. So, in number 7, Double Dare.
yes.
Double Dare hits the number 7 slot for Entertainment Weekly's top 10 game shows of all time, and it was messy and slimy, and it's something that I feel like I should replicate in what I do.
Dude, it was great.
That sounds amazing.
It was a great one.
I'll have to wait for summer. We'll have to do it outside. I don't want to bring that inside.
Yeah.
Yikes. In number 6, what was that? Number 7? Number 6, Deal or No Deal. Do you remember this? Howie Mandel?
Yeah, with the briefcases.
With the briefcases. Yep. Looks like criminal activity just waiting to happen. All those briefcases. I don't know. That's just anyway. Moving on. Welcome to my
Yeah.
brain.
You just want to yell out, "Get to the van!" with all
Yeah.
those
No joke.
the briefcases.
Number 5, coming in halfway, The Dating Game, which had multiple attempts through the years,
Yeah.
multiple seasons coming back and forth.
Dude,
And
crazy thing about the dating game,
yes,
they had a serial killer on one of the episodes.
was that part of his? Hey, you should date me or else. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, Anna, no, not at all. But he'd killed like 10 people, and then he went on the dating show, and it was like he'd killed like 10 women, and he went on the dating show and ended up like the girl ended up choosing
Oh
him.
my gosh.
And then after the show went off the air, she said, I don't want to go on a date with this guy because like after he gave me like creepy vibes or whatever. But he ended up like killing like people. Yeah, crazy thing.
I'm going to be looking that up later. That's
Yeah.
just who I am as a person. Okay, and number 4, Classic Concentration, which was a game hosted by Alex Trebek from 87 to 91. It was kind of like a puzzle picture game where you had to
Oh, yeah.
match the cards on the screen that created a
Yes.
puzzle. Yeah.
I was thinking of like the little game that like where you put the tweezers
Oh,
and you
yeah.
try to pull out the bone and that dude.
Operation.
Operation.
This is
not
concentration.
Goodness
Yeah.
gracious.
Well,
It's
you
been
know.
a day.
Anyway, in the number 3 slot is The Chase. And this is I don't know The Chase. It's recent though. It's like kind of current. It says here it's a mental exhortation. And each episode pits 3 contestants against a trivia expert. Oh yeah, it's that guy. Like he's at the top of the tower. Is this it? Do you know what I'm talking about? I think this is it.
Never even
I
heard
think
of
I've seen it because it's like that guy, and he's like, oh, I'm so smart. And people are like asking trivia questions or getting asked it. I don't know. I think this is it, The Chase.
No, there was one that was like Stump the Expert or something. I don't know. That's not the name of it, but it was like a Stump the Expert, and they had like 4 different experts on
Oh.
different subjects. I don't know.
See, it literally says at the end of this paragraph, we promise it's easier to follow in practice than to. I'm like, okay, I'll have to just watch a little episode on YouTube. If you are a fan of The Chase, that's awesome. Good for you. Number 2, we're getting close.
We're getting close.
I'm really pumped about this one because I love this game show, Cash Cab.
Oh, dude, that was
I love
such
it
a
so
good
much.
one.
It's so good.
I totally forgot about.
It's so
yes.
good. So
Yes.
good.
The host Ben Bailey, he makes the show.
It is the best.
Yeah.
And I had been to New York probably 9 times while this show was airing.
Yeah.
And I was like, please, God, let today be the day that
I
I end up
know.
in the cash cab.
I saw this one where they left it in the episode. This guy gets in, he's like 47th and E Street or whatever. And so, you know, like the premise of it, like
oh, yeah.
all the lights and everything
the
goes off.
sound.
The guy was like, nope, not today. And like got out the cab.
Oh, that guy living my dream, just abandoning
It's like
it.
typical New Yorker, just like,
So
I don't have
good.
time for this. I'm just
I'm
gonna
just trying to get
get
to
another
lunch.
cab.
Like, golly. Oh, it's so good. And then at the number 1,
Price
this
is Right.
by Entertainment Weekly, they said number 1 rated game show, Card Sharks.
What? How is Price is Right not even on there?
I keep saying Entertainment Weekly, so if you got a problem, email their editor.
I do. Dude, I am going to email them.
Because I was surprised with this too. Card Sharks is like where they answer questions like how many of the 100 married women we surveyed live with their spouse before they tied the knot. And a contestant would guess a number. The other would guess whether the actual number is higher or lower. And whoever wins flips over a series of playing cards in the game board trying to guess if the next card will be higher or lower. So it's constantly like higher, lower numbers. Like it's like kind of like a blackjack kind of game. I don't know. But
it sounds stupid because
I don't
Price
know
is
what to
Right
tell
is not
you.
number 1.
I don't know what to tell you. Price is Right was not in the top 10.
Jeopardy's not even on there. Wheel of Fortune.
Hey.
What about, you remember Legends of the Hidden Temple?
Do
Do you remember that?
you remember Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Dude, what?
Oh.
You need to
So
find a
good.
different list.
Hey, here's what I'm telling you. Sometimes Nana's casserole got overbaked. And we
Dude,
don't always like it.
That is
But
burnt.
it was still brought.
That is burnt.
It still showed up at the potluck.
Yep.
Nana didn't forget the casserole.
I'm not having any
but
of
it's
it.
not that delicious today.
No, it is actually making me mad.
Whenever Nana brings the anger casserole.
Dude, for real.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining
Yeah.
us for Nana's casserole.
Yeah, I felt like I just ate a can of pineapple.
My tongue is burning.
My mouth is bothering me. All right,
Oh.
mystery meat time. Let's do this. I like shows like this where it's like double games. Like that's what it.
Games on games.
Games on games. What is your most treasured possession?
Oh. Right now, I love my scooter.
Dude, everybody on staff loves your scooter.
Right now, I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I'm sure I have other more treasured possessions, but I love that scooter right now.
Yeah.
Loving it.
Yeah, it's a motorized scooter, and so since
Like
our offices are all changed around and everything, if you just want to go pop in and say hi to Pastor Jess because she was the only one that didn't have any kind of water damage in her office, but you just hop on the scoots
Yeah.
and just
I'm not joking. When I walked across this whole worship center to close these doors, I was like, I should have brought my scooter. I was like, oh, gross. I'm walking? How gross.
This is so not like me.
This is what peasants do. Who walks? This is terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I love scooting around that thing.
Yeah, most treasured possession. Goodness gracious.
Yeah,
There's a couple that I've got, like I look at the wedding ring that Erica gave me.
Yeah.
Like I think highly of it.
Yeah.
Even though there was a time where I didn't wear it because I lost a ton of weight
Yeah.
after I quit drinking. And so, but I had the idea to wear a gas, like one of the rubber ones, the
Yeah.
silicone rings to kind of help them stay on.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 rings that I wear right here. So the one that keeps them all on, the one that Erica gave to me on our wedding day, and then I have my great grandfather's wedding
cool.
ring, which is
Yeah.
up there. And then, goodness, I'd have to say I love my guitar. I
Yeah.
have a watch that I'm really high on that I have that I don't ever wear, that my dad gave me. It's just.
I know it's
And
tough.
at the end, it's all stuff.
It is.
And
Yep.
I'm not like Erica and I, we purge, we go through stuff all the time. We're not using that. Let's just throw it away. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's just stuff, and all of it can be replaced.
Yep.
It's just the memory or the association that's attached to it. So
Yeah, and I'm having some prized possession behavior towards my car right now because we've been having conversations about possibly replacing it,
yeah,
and I'm struggling because I love my car. I bought that car whenever I got my first big kid job, and I've had it with me for almost a decade now.
Yeah.
And I love it, and we've been through a lot, and you know.
okay, you stop that.
Okay, put the hand up. No.
Not,
uh.
ooh.
Ooh, ooh.
Woo woo. So
Yeah.
apparently there's this new thing that I'm doing where if I don't like whatever situation I'm in and I want it to stop, my coworkers have pointed out to me that
It's so
I
good.
put my hands
I
out
love
and
it so
shake it, and I
much.
go, no, wait,
It's so
or
good.
ooh, oops.
It's the oops is the best one. Oops is after something is said that was not intended, or earlier when we were recording and I said pantyhose. He's like, oops. No. I meant to say hose. I don't know. Tights. What
Right.
is this getting worse somehow? Ooh.
I think this is the
Oops.
first time I've cried on the potluck,
Ooh.
from laughter. I've had some really close moments, whenever we talked about serious things, but this,
Oh man.
this harkens back to the conversation about Jared's awkward social interaction because I do stupid
It's
stuff.
oh, what could I say now? I could say, hey, we're not going to talk about that. No, I'm not going to do that. Ooh.
Oops. Somebody looking at me like, did you just give me the jazz hands?
That's the jazz monkey. Ooh.
What are you, some kind of orangutan DJ? Ooh.
Not the orangutan DJ.
All right, we got to get out of here, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
that's
for
the end.
Thank you so much for putting up with this episode.
Jeez.
If you stuck with us this far, it's been a good one. But
Yeah.
we love you, Anna. We're praying for you. We're just praying that the Lord just kind of continue to give new and fresh ideas for you to be able
Oh, yeah,
to
man.
connect the gospel with just having fun and because that's what it's all about. Like being
Yep.
a Christian is not some kind of crazy or taxing thing that we have to
No,
do.
it's not stale.
Yeah, it's not stale. It's fun and exciting.
Yep.
Kind of like this episode. It was good. I'm going to have to go wipe my face from crying so much. But thank you so much. We love each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for listening and continue to listening. You're the best. You're the best. Pastor Cheryl, who's running the cameras, you're the best. We thank you so much. Y'all have a good week. We'll see you next Friday.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. You can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.